Super Bowl took place, and there was excitement abound. You had Kendrick Lamar performing at halftime. Of course, you had the Eagles playing the Chiefs. I called it. Congratulations on the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, that amazing defense winning the Super Bowl. Then you had John Baptiste singing the national anthem. You had, of course, Lettucey singing the national anthem. And folk are always whining and complaining, whining and complaining. And so here's my boy, Armstrong Williams. Armstrong, we cool, you know we get along, but you knew I was gonna hit your ass after you posted this on Twitter.
Yet again, the National Football League has decided to desecrate the sacred American sport of football, a sport that has united Americans for decades by playing the divisive Negro National Anthem before the game. Now look, I certainly have no problem with there being a Black American National Anthem, but there's a time and place for everything, and the Super Bowl is not the time nor the place. We don't play the Asian American National Anthem, the Muslim American National Anthem, the Indian American National Anthem, the Native American National Anthem. What has caused us to play favorites with certain Americans over every other race during the Super Bowl? What is it? The point is, the moment you start playing favorites, you inevitably exclude everyone else, everyone. And you start controversy, which we don't need in sports. It's a place for us to heal and unite, not to divide. This is why we shouldn't play favorites at all. It's why we should sing only the United States national anthem, an anthem made for all Americans that includes everybody, regardless of race, color, or creed, because that is what people don't seem to understand. Yes, America has had a marred past with racial injustice, just as every other country has. But our national anthem has always stood for one thing and one thing only. Not white Americans, not black Americans, but Americans. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, the national anthem is your anthem. And when that beautiful song is sung, it is sung for every American, everywhere. I'm Armstrong Williams live from Super Bowl 59.
So before we get into the Roland Martin juicy part of this, I want to just basically talk a little bit about what he said so far, because he said some things that I didn't agree with and some things that I did agree with. More that I did agree with than I disagree with. So I'll probably say it's like 95% agree, 5% disagree. The only thing, but the only reason why I disagree is on a technicality. So make sure you stay tuned to the end, because we really gonna break this video down. He's right. No, at the end of the day, he's right. I don't understand myself why they play Lift Every Voice and sing at the national at these events. I don't. I genuinely don't. If it was like a black specific event, then I don't mind it. But I don't understand why at these American events people feel the need to play the Black National Anthem. Now, he's absolutely right. We don't play the national anthem for any other demographic of people here. The only part of what he said that I had some controversy on was I was wondering if it's really if it really is like divisive in nature. But the more I think about it, the song, yeah, it's not divisive in nature. But what it is the reason why it's being played is divisive. That's why I say it's only on a technicality, but I agree with that. Because like he said, no other demographic or race gets that. So now it looks like now you're framing it as, oh, there's a white national anthem and then there's a black national anthem. But what about all the other races? What about the black people who support the regular national anthem? What about the white people who like Lift Every Voice and sing? I mean, like I said, I agree with him. I think it would be better for people just to not to not play the black one because what are you playing it for? It's not a black event. So I don't understand that. That's just me. That's just me. But let's go ahead and get into Roland Martin because let's just say I'm not a fan of his takes.
First, Armstrong, that was some bullshit.
He did all that, and I thought he was going to say something clever.
That also was filled with lies. First of all, ain't no Asian national anthem.
And keep in mind, he just said everything is filled with lies. The first thing he says is there ain't no Asian national anthem, and that's what he chooses to pick because obviously the man was saying it in sarcasm. It's obvious that he was saying it in sarcasm. This is not clever.
Ain't no Latino national anthem. Ain't no Muslim national anthem. So how in the hell can you go, we're not playing these other national anthems? Because they don't exist. So you're whining about lift every voice and sing being sung at the Super Bowl. This year, y'all, let us see.
Is the Super Bowl a black event? Is the Super Bowl an exclusively black league? Other than that, why do you need to have it included? America is not just black people and white people. That's what y'all don't understand. America is not just black and white people.
Let us see led the singing of Lift Every Voice and Sing. Here's some of it.
Performed by 500 school children in 1900. We welcome 125 youth choir members from the great
Every Voice and Sing. Let us see in that choir. Singing. Lift every voice and sing the Negro National Anthem. And for the people who have no clue, who have no understanding, who know nothing about history, Lift Every Voice and Sing was not penned by James Weldon Johnson as the Negro National Anthem.
When did he say that? That's what I'm talking about. You got when you deal with these leftists. Now look, when you deal with these, sorry guys, that was some great pausing. I mean, just look at his face. But he is so serious. He is so passionate, so loud, so wrong. See, because the thing is, like I was saying, that man never said anything about, the national anthem was written by anything. They didn't. What does this have to do with the price of tea in China? When you're dealing with a lot of these leftists, what they love to do is they love to go on these long soliloquies, and you're going to see it. They love to go on these long soliloquies and these long soapboxes about the history and their facts and their points when it has nothing to do with what was addressed. Why does it have to be played at the NFL, at the Super Bowl? Why? That is the question.
No, it's a hymn. It's a Christian hymn. The song was first sung publicly at a celebration of the birth of former President Abraham Lincoln.
See, and this is my thing. I don't have a problem. Roland Martin, go ahead. Give your history lesson, bruh. I don't have a problem with that. But frame it as what it is. Don't sit there and be like, oh, yeah, he's lying. He's doing this. He's telling you lies. When the man never said nothing about what you're even talking about. You just want to go on your soapbox. So say, let me educate people on why they need to do it. But whatever, go off.
Yeah.
Or why they should care.
That was the first time. It wasn't until some 30 years later that the NAACP called it the Negro National Anthem because it spoke to the fight against racism by black people. So the author of the song, of the Christian hymn, never called it the Negro National Anthem.
What does this have to do with the price of tea in China?
That was it being coined by the NAACP. And so all these people, all these right wingers, why are they singing, the Negro National Anthem? Why are they, I don't understand why this is just wrong. It's not right. It's just showing we're not unified. And
right, you can say you say all that and you give all the history, but you've yet to address the question. Why do we need to see it at the NFL? Why?
All this little whining and complaining. And
okay, gaslighting. Or what they call it, sign language.
Among these idiots who love running their mouth is that dumbass who's in Trump's ear, Charlie Kirk, the one who wants to get rid of the Civil Rights Act and MLK holiday. Go to my iPad. So he tweeted this. Only
guys, this is a master class in tap dancing, just so you know. This is a master class in tap dancing.
Our actual national anthem should be performed at the Super Bowl. And my boy Ben Watson, the former NFL player, Super Bowl winner, he goes, why so much hate for America the Beautiful? I think it's a beautiful song about our country. Oh, I'm sorry. Were y'all aware that there was another song sung and performed? Yeah. Cue it up. Trombone Shorty of New Orleans and Laura Dago. Guess what? They actually performed another song, America the Beautiful, which has happened multiple times in previous Super Bowls.
What does this have to do with what anybody's saying? That's the thing. You're saying a lot. You're saying a lot, but you're not saying anything.
Roll it. Oh my God! It's another song. What shall we do? The world is ending. We literally did a second song, not the Star Spangled Banner, not the national anthem, with America the Beautiful. So, that's it. That's sacrilegious. There's no song that should be sung other than the Star Spangled Banner.
This is so stupid.
And then they complain about that. Oh my God, I didn't like this. John Baptiste, New Orleans, Grammy Award winner, amazing artist. He did the national anthem. Go. Yes, there was also some booing when they showed that idiot. So, oh my goodness, what do we do? Here we go.
I'm gonna talk about booing. Let's talk. Oh, you want to talk about getting booed?
it's. I don't understand. What did Armstrong say? Oh my God, that song, that beautiful song, that song that speaks for all of us. The song that represents all of us. This was a piece that was published in the Washington Post 5 months ago.
Like I said, this is a master class in tap dancing because remember, I need you guys to remember that the topic, the point of contention is whether the Negro anthem should be performed at the NFL. He's yet to give a single reason why. Yet to give a single reason. The whole conversation is about that. He's told you, he talked to you about the Negro, about it not really being a Negro anthem and how it started out as a Christian hymn. No, you know what I mean? Everybody knows this. It started off as a hymn and then it became the Negro anthem. So he told you about that. And then he's talking, I don't even know what he's talking about anymore, man. He's like, come on. Now you talking about, people have done other songs at the Super Bowl.
The ugly reason the Star Spangled Banner didn't become our national anthem for a century. Oh my goodness, what did I just say? Yeah, y'all, When the
Here we
Star
go.
Spangled Banner was written, it did not become the nation's anthem until a century later. I don't understand. I mean, the song was written in September of 1814. Francis Scott Key in Baltimore wrote this song, and he as you see right here, he overheard plans for a surprise attack on Baltimore. He witnessed this, and so he was then moved to write this song. And oh, I'm sorry, who was Francis Scott Key? Francis Scott Key was a slaveholder, like many of the founding fathers. Francis Scott Key also was an anti-abolitionist. He did not want to see people of African descent to be free. So
now we're going to the slavery thing. Why does that matter? I don't understand why. What's the point of bringing that up? Yes. People had slaves back then.
pinned the Star Spangled Banner.
Stupid.
And, we sing it. The problem is we don't sing the full song. And we don't sing the full song because that third stanza is problematic.
He thinks he's so clever.
Because the third stanza talks about slaves and the British. Please show it. So the third stanza, and where is that band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country should leave us no more. Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps' pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of fight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave over the land and of the free and the home and the brave. He writes about those slaves. Go to my iPad. These lyrics are a clear reference to the colonial Marines, according to Jefferson Morley, author of Snowstorm in August, Washington City, Francis Scott Key, and the Forgotten Race Riot of 1835. Quote, they are clearly meant to scorn and threaten the African Americans who took the British up on their offer, he wrote in a recent essay for the Washington Post. Key surely knew about the colonial Marines, and it's even possible he saw them among the contingent of British ships that sailed into the Baltimore harbor. Because you see, there were people who were enslaved people of African descent, who the British said, if you fight for us, we win, we will give you your freedom. And black folk, they say, oh, we will take up arms and we're not trying to be enslaved. And so Francis Scott Key was not happy to see them fighting for the British. The other reason it was dropped because in World War I and II, the British became our allies. And so therefore, they did not want that to be seen as a point of contention. That's the history of the Star-Spangled Banner. So Armstrong, you're full of shit by saying, oh.
Okay, so I let him get his history lesson off. Now let's see if he'll finally actually get to what he's trying to say.
Oh my God, it's a song that brings us together and all. You're wrong. The actual song doesn't. The actual song was written by a slaveholder. The actual songwriter.
Okay, now let's get into this. Excuse me. He didn't actually say that. What you're doing is straw man, and then you're basically trying to manipulate and twist his point around. He didn't say that unites us. What he said is the country needs to be united, meaning on one accord. So that means that the song that we're singing needs to be unified and together. That means that if we got one group singing one song, another group singing another song, it doesn't mean that the Star Spangled Banner is perfect or without flaw. That's not what it means. But it was a song that was chosen to represent America. And because it was chosen to represent America, guess what? If you're American, be on one accord. That's what he was saying. If you guys are going to attack an argument, attack it right before you start calling people names and insulting them.
See, again, I'm juxtaposing two different songs. James Weldon Johnson writes a Christian hymn.
Irrelevant.
Slaveholder Francis Scott Key writes a song that praises the slaveholders, that praises them in their fight for the British, and degrades the enslaved people of African descent for fighting with the Brits. So actually, Armstrong,
Why do you bring that up? It's irrelevant. That's what I'm saying. It's irrelevant. Yes, there were people who had slaves back then. People had slaves. What is the point of bringing up, oh, this person was a slave master. Oh, this person has, oh, this person was oh, it's that same crying mentality. We know that there were slave owners back then. Yes, there were people who were pro-slaves. There were people who didn't want to lose their free labor. Yes, but guess what? They're no different than the slaves over in slaves over in Africa. No different than slaves in any other part of the world. Every culture and every civilization has been enslaved at one point or another, or enslaved someone. That's a fact. Slavery is a human concept. It's not some kind of brain blast rocket science moment that, yes, somebody who did something monumental back in the old times might have been a slave owner. Yes, it's likely. It's likely that the person that was fighting on the battlefield that won America's independence was likely a slave owner. Ooh.
I am to compare two songs that really represent America, represents Americans, that represents unity, then I probably will say, if I am comparing the history of these two songs, the songwriters of these two songs, then I probably will say that Lift Every Voice and Sing is much higher and more representative of unity of the people of this country.
And you know what? You know what? That can be 100% fair. That is a fair statement, and you are allowed to feel that. You know what the problem is? Guess what? It's not the song America chose. Americans decided and voted on Star Spangled Banner. That's what America chose. Just like with all this DEI stuff, America chose for that not to happen. When it comes to deportation, America chose to get our country back under control. Americans chose that. Don't get mad about that. If you want to do it, petition it. Petition it and try to get Americans and not just colored people. Why don't you actually put that into a petition? Let's get a new Star Spangled Banner, or let's get a new national anthem. We think it should be Lift Every Voice and Sing. Let's stop calling it the Negro anthem and let's just call it the American anthem. We believe it's more positive. We believe it's this. And work to get your voice heard. It might not happen because guess what? That's the way democracy works, or this illusion of democracy that we got. It's really a republic. But, that's the way it goes. And you got to be okay with the fact that people might not want it. They might not want it to happen. And you got to be okay with that.
So maybe, Armstrong, instead of bitching about the song and fanning the flames of your right-wing conservative followers, maybe what you should do is show them this video. Maybe what you should do
so we can laugh at you
is offer them some education. Maybe what you should do is teach them what real American history. But maybe the problem is because MAGA and the right wing desperately wants to remove certain books out of classrooms. MAGA and the right wing and the Republicans don't want their white kids and their followers to be taught all of these proper and correct things about American history. Maybe
most people don't have a problem with teaching the history. They have a problem with the framing of the history. They have a problem with you trying to frame it and blame white people for actions of their ancestors. I guarantee you, if it wasn't for all this, all this, what they call it, critical race theory, the critical race theory and all this, just these Marxist ideas that people, and the sad part is a lot of people don't even know what Marxism is. But it's Marxist, it's still Marxist ideas that their fate and their destiny has been determined because they were born a certain color. And I mean, that's lame. That's lame to me.
because what they want them to do is they want them to maintain a level of ignorance, so they walk around thinking that this song is all about unity and we're together, when in fact that is not what the Star Spangled Banner was about. Because I also thought
it was about a country, it was about a citizen of a country, or of a group of people that just won a battle for their independence. I mean, while they're fighting for their independence, just because African Americans happen to be slaves at the time doesn't mean that the song can't apply to them now. That's really the moral of the story. I don't understand what's so hard about that part to understand.
That you conservatives, when it came to the Constitution, were original constructionists, that you were originalists, that you wanted to really study and you believed in the original intent.
Who said that? No, nobody said that. Nobody is trying to pretend like, you know what I mean? There wasn't slaves and nothing like that. What it is the Constitution applies to American citizens. And in 2025, guess what? African Americans are American citizens, just like Hispanic legal migrants. Because there's more than just Hispanics that are migrants, but I'm not going to list off every single race. You know what I mean? All these legal migrants that are here are American citizens too. And guess what? The Constitution applies to them just as much as it does white people, contrary to what you guys like to frame it. But you guys are so stuck on the past, and you want to get you want to trip off of technicalities and things that were, you know what I'm saying, things that were made from a different time.
Of the framers' words, not how they were interpreted, but the original intent. So therefore, Armstrong and all of you MAGA, right-wing, conservative, Republicans, ideologues, if I choose to be a constructionalist and an originalist when it comes to the text, then if I study the Star Spangled Banner, I see how deeply rooted it is in slavery and evil. But if I study the Christian hymn of James Weldon Johnson, what I will see is a song that was written from a place of Christian unity.
And all that you just said is irrelevant. Honestly, that's the truth. It's all irrelevant, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why it's irrelevant. And the reason why it's irrelevant is because guess what? It's still not the song America chose to represent it, and it just goes that deep. That just goes that deep. Unless there's legislation introduced to change the national anthem, guess what? It doesn't matter how much better morally the creator of the song was, versus the other one. It doesn't matter how much more inspirational, like, it doesn't matter how much better written the song is. It doesn't matter the message behind it. The fact of the matter is, Americans chose that to be the national anthem. That's the truth. And until Americans decide to change it, that's what it's going to be. So everything that you're saying is irrelevant. And like I said, this is just a masterclass in tap dancing, because he's yet to address the point at all. He's never addressed why they should play the Negro national anthem alongside the American national anthem when you don't do it for any other race. Why is it there? That's the question. That's the question. And I just want to know. So let me know what y'all think, because there's only so much I can take of this guy. But it's just funny how a lot of these left-wing media people, they're just so far, like, their heads are just so far up their own butts that they just can't. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. It's really unfortunate too. It's really unfortunate.